This is the story on how I was at school during a tornado drill, but later, without no warning, a tornado actually hit as an EF1. So, here we go. I was at school, we were doing a test, and then the principal announced that we were having a tornado drill. We all love doing tornado drills because it wastes our class time, so then we get closer to recess. So tornado drills usually range from 15 to 20 minutes. So we're just sitting there against the walls. We're just sitting there against the walls and stuff with our hands over our head. And then about half an hour later, a bit longer than usual, the principal announces that we're good to go. And then that means there was 20 minutes before recess. And in 20 minutes, that had barely no class time because by the time our teacher explained anything, it would be 5 minutes into recess. So we were all happy about that. So the teacher gave us a bit of free time to talk to our friends and do all of that. Then it's finally recess time. Everyone is happy, and we walk down the hallways, and we all open the doors, and we run into the playgrounds. So of course I'm talking to my friend, and I'm like, imagine we had an actual tornado in our actual tornado drills. They were like, oh yeah, that would be so scary and exciting because that would like never happen. I was like, yeah. And then it starts to rain, so we all have to go in, then have indoor recess. Then the principal announces that there is another tornado watch, so we have to do another drill. This tornado warnings and drills were actually wasting our time, class time. So the school day was usually mostly there was 2 tornado drills in one day. Usually we have like one because tornado watches aren't really set out that often. But yeah. So as the watches were set out, the principal let us out as soon as it turned sunny again, which that time ranging was about 15 to 20 minutes. Thank God there was no flooding, so we were all okay from the little bits of hail and some rain. So we're just in class then, and it's been like 2 hours later and there's still no tornado drill. So we're all like bored out because tornado drills were really fun. And then a second later, it starts to get really windy and there's no announcement. We're all like, this is kind of getting a bit scary. Then we see trees snapping and falling, and then we hear glass shattering everywhere. Then the power went out. Then we see some mobile homes across the street flipped over because we were near a mobile home park. Then a bunch of other trees fell towards the school. Then the class started to take it to their own hands and ran as fast as they possibly all could toward the bathrooms because the bathrooms had no windows. Because the bathrooms were actually in a deeper part of the school. They had 3 walls against the actual storm that it would be, since it had 3 walls for the outside walls. So we were all like, okay, it's a safe place to be. Then we all are just in the stalls. Of course, we didn't have barely any time, so some boys were in the girls' washroom, and then some girls were in the boys' washroom, because we had barely any other time to save ourselves. But then we just hear crashing and shattering, and then the roof stays on completely. Only like a couple patches were torn off because we're in a massive brick building. And we were actually on the 2nd floor when we saw all that going through, so we just all rushed as soon as the power actually started to go out, and we heard glass shattering everywhere. And we have this, I don't know what it is, but it's this, we all call it the fun house. So yeah, as we were split into the interior rooms, the building was a bit damaged, but not as we thought. We had to, like I was saying, we had this nice wooden house that we all called the creepy house because it was all wood, rusted up, and it was completely flattened because it was kind of like a mobile home but made out of wood, so it was blown away. It did F5 damage to that house because it was just like a small little wooden place that it was almost like a playhouse, but people actually lived there. But thank God, people actually came to this dome that could withstand 150-mile-an-hour winds, but it was located about 20 minutes away from the school. So warnings were set out, but the principal wasn't paying attention to the weather. So my whole class had to take it into our own hands and go to the interior rooms. And the principal was in the office, and all the windows blew out there. Sadly, he was severely injured, but he was not dead. Next time, I hope he pays way more attention to the weather, because an EF0 that turned into an EF1 had touched down 0.6 kilometers away from us. So, of course, the warning was set out, and that was a big deal. So then, we were like, okay. We need to figure this out because we all had phones and we were the only ones to get the warnings. And we were like, oh, the principal's going to put us into the interior rooms. I'm pretty scared because it was an actual tornado warning that we saw on our devices. But then, he never said a word. He was probably severely injured because he wasn't listening to anything the National Weather Service said. And he has the radio playing the whole time. And my principal was just ignoring everything it said. All it was saying tornado warning has been issued for this county. An EF0 has touched down about 0.6 kilometers an hour from the county of Westbridge, and that's the county I'm in. And he was just ignoring it because it was an EF0, but that could he doesn't understand. And EF0 is equivalent to 65 miles an hour, which could break tree limbs, down trees, uproot trees, and damage and strip a bit of a roof, and some shingles would fall. And then, by the time it reached here, it was an EF1, and it caused that catastrophic damage. And apparently, it moved southeast of us and became an F3. But it ends up, it was an EF1, but then it strengthened to an EF2 when it was on its way here. So it was an EF1 when it hit the building, but it turned into an EF2 when it was still hitting the building. That's why the roof was severely stripped and stuff. So yeah, the roof was off because the EF1 plus the EF2 kind of destroyed the whole roof and a bit of the top floor. So that is a story on how I was at a tornado drill. Then later my principal didn't listen to the warnings.